14 consecutive victories here in the Mountain West Conference and a 14th Mountain West Championship for Colorado State Volleyball. Hi, everybody. Matthew Wozniak alongside head coach Tom Hilbert. Tom, let's go back and look at the week that was. You got the season sweep over Utah State. We'll go to that one. That's a team that's, you kind of knew what they're going to go and who they're going to funnel the ball to. You took away their main option. How was your defense that night?
I thought it was good. I thought we did a nice job blocking against those guys, and I thought that we they aren't a difficult team to predict what they're going to do. They're fairly set in the system that they run, but they do have some talented kids, and we were able to shut down the ones we wanted to.
Yeah, it took away some options, and Utah State unable to recover from that. Colorado State earns the sweep. On the offensive side of things, boy, you had a bunch of really impressive performances from your kids. Brianna Reynolds, Kirsty Hillier in particular, just they were hitting at such a high efficiency. I don't think I recall when when players have played that well.
Well, and they're just not making silly unforced errors, which is the first key to doing that. But every time you don't hit an error, you have a chance to get a kill.
Sure.
And sometimes mathematically those come out, and it's like our middles are. I think Katie is choosing the right times to set them. We're well distributed offensively, and that opens it up for a lot of people. And I thought Brianna Reynolds against Utah State was as good as I've seen her, and they did a pretty good job digging her too. And she still stayed patient, took great swings, and really looked like a big time player.
Yeah, and there were some interesting moments in that match. Some of the details inside. Obviously, we know about her physical gifts. She can hit the ball an angle line just about as hard. But she was taking she was off speed. She was tipping over the top. We hadn't seen that development yet. You've been working on that with her for a while?
Yeah, we've been working on that for a long time. And we, with each team, we try to identify where the tip zones, or what we call the trouble shot zones, are.
Okay.
She's been pretty good lately in remembering where those are and hitting them, and I think that's helped her get some kills.
Yeah, not only that, it keeps your opposing block guessing where you're going to go with it back and forth. Okay, so come to the big matchup on Saturday against Boise State. That was probably the tipping point for both of those programs in this race for the Mountain West Championship. Colorado State made the comeback, and then Boise State, boy, their season had a rough go from that point. But in this contest, again, it was about you knew one player was going to be fed over and over and over again. How'd you handle that?
We did a great job against, I'm assuming you mean Sierra Nobley, and I thought we did a wonderful job with her. And we touched a lot of balls, didn't stuff a bunch. We touched a lot. We're able to keep those balls in play, transition them, and kill them. And held her under 200, I think, and did a really good job with her. We also did a good job with Janelle Wally, who's another very important player for them. So I thought our blocking was exceptional, and especially in the third set when we really needed it, because they were playing a little bit better. The score was tighter. We weren't hitting as well, but we came through and blocked balls when we needed to.
A couple of things that I want to expound upon that you just pointed out. Number one, it was obvious in the first set that a lot of your kills were terminal, but when you were defending, you were getting hands up, popping into your back row to cover it. Is that just a function of maybe the other opponent just hitting at a different angle, or is it because your block is being active and not being used by the offense to get wild caroms?
No, it's the second. Our block was fundamentally good and active, and we were getting in front of people, and that is the reason that we were getting those defensive opportunities. The other thing that happened in the third set that you have to mention is, Paulina Haugar-Jensen had 3 kills in the first 2 sets, and she gets 6 in the third set. And that's the neat thing that's been happening with our team, is that somebody will be just kind of trucking along, and then all of a sudden they just jump up and have a great third set or second set or whatever. And we've got a lot of weapons and a great setter, so those things can happen.
Yeah, and it's interesting that one of the problems that you discussed about your squad is you run into teams that dig well. You ran into New Mexico. They play great back row defense. Boise State has an outstanding libero in Maddie Osborne. Again, a lot of hard-driven balls being dug. But again, it was just the mental patience for your squad. I thought it was the most patient match maybe your team had played.
It was. We did a great job. We got dug, and they just kept swinging and kept playing. And that's maturity.
Yep. Obviously, the 14th Mountain West Championship in the history of volleyball. Now you got a long way to go. I mean, all of our attention on the outside, we're looking at the NCAA tournament, we're seedings, who's going to play who. You guys have got a long ways to go here. How do you keep everybody fresh? Are you going to see some new lineups, some new players to avoid injury and keep everybody on their toes, or how do you manage to handle that?
Yeah, I think we will probably try to play some different people. We want to keep people fresh. We want to keep legs fresh. We want to have intensity. Our practices need to be as good as our matches right now, and so that we can step into an NCAA tournament knowing we're going to face a top 10 team, top 15 team within the first 2 matches and go out and win it.
That'll do it for us here at Moby Arena, a championship in the air. And, well, that trophy ceremony will be down the line. You'll want to check csurams.com about all the details about that. But the Rams will return here to take on Fresno State a week from Wednesday after a brief road trip. Thanks for joining us here. Come back next week for all the recap and the action. See you then.